This right here is a true sign that the rules and regulations that the government makes up hurt the trucking industry. So this is straight out of the books right here. To have your CDL, you must be able to speak, read English at a sufficient level. So what does that mean? Sufficient is defined as speaking and reading English well enough to converse with the general public, understand traffic signs and highway signs in English, and respond to official inquiries and make reports and records in English, right? An example of that is if you're about to go down a 9% grade and it's telling you to go down to a lower gear and you don't understand the sign, that can be extremely dangerous, right? And so, the reason why I say that the Department of Justice and the government is making rules and regulations that hurt the safety of trucking is because even though they say that they want you to be sufficient and be able to read and write in English, they actually have a law that says employers can't request for specific and unnecessary documents because the worker is allowed to choose whatever documentation he or she wants to present. And so Covenant Transport is actually settling for $700,000 because they were asking for green cards to make sure that these drivers that were applying were legally allowed to drive and work in America. And so even if you think Covenant is trash, which a lot of people do, right? If the company's trying to do something right, but the government is saying that you can't ask for a green card to show that they can work in America, but also you're making a law that if you have your CDL, you have to be able to read, write in English. That is definitely a problem, Now, I got an email from Trucking Goddess. I'll show a screenshot right here. She was asking us to give her a shout out, and we had so many drivers ask about this topic, and so she asked for a shout out. So hey guys, show her some love, right? But this is the problem in America. The FMCSA asked about safety, but at the end of the day, they have all these rules and regulations that make it hard for the trucking companies to make that happen. So, we'll read into this article if you don't have time, but here it is. So let me read this to you guys right here. The Justice Department secures agreement with Tennessee Trucking Company to resolve allegations of hiring discrimination, right? The Justice Department announced today that it has secured a $700,000 agreement with Covenant Transport, Inc., as well as affiliated entity Transport Management Services, two transportation logistics and long-haul trucking companies headquartered in Chattanooga, Tennessee, resolves the department's determination that the companies violated the anti-discrimination provision of the Immigration and Nationality Act, INA, by routinely discriminating against non-U.S. citizens workers when checking their permission to work in the United States. Quote unquote, by the government here, employers cannot discriminate against non-U.S. citizens by demanding specific or unnecessary documents from them to prove their permission to work, said Assistant Attorney General Christine Clark of the Justice Department of Civil Rights Division. The Justice Department is committed to assuring compliance with our federal civil rights law that non-U.S. citizens with permission to work can contribute their talents to our workforce. January 2020 through at least August 2022, Covenant Transport was asking these non-citizens for their green cards. And I guess that's against the law. The Department of Civil Rights is making up rules and regulations that make it hard for trucking companies to do the right thing. So, my truckers, comment down below what are your thoughts about this, but that's what's going on.